engage.
So it's going to be a really awkward cut in a second, but I just want to say that what you just watched was a video of me flying in a biplane. Like I told you guys, I went down to the beach in North Carolina this past week, and me and my uncle, we got to go up in a biplane, and the pilot took us up and down the island, and we flew around their house. And it was about a 20-minute flight, I think, and it was fantastic. It was one of my favorite things I've ever done on vacation, because I've always wanted to fly in a biplane. It's like one of my dreams. I just love the open cockpit, and it was phenomenal. So my mom managed to get that video from the ground as we were taking off. So I just wanted to show that to you guys, since I told you guys I'd be going on vacation, and I'm sure you're all wondering how it was. Why, thank you. It was amazing. So today I'm reviewing episode 20 called The Arsenal of Freedom. And I do realize that the lighting is terrible in here. I've moved back home, if you hadn't noticed. This is my bedroom at home now. And I'll probably be going back in and out from my home at school over the summer. So I'll be moving back and forth. So I'll probably be trying to film in both locations. I have brought a lamp in here to try to fix the lighting. As you can see, it doesn't really help. So I'm trying to light it up a little bit any way I can, because my lighting here is horrendous. But anyway, I'm reviewing The Arsenal of Freedom, and for some reason this has always been one of my favorite episodes. Back whenever I was watching it, the first few years I was watching Star Trek, I really liked this episode. And going back and watching it yesterday, I was expecting it to not be very good. Not just because I was expecting to be disappointed, but because it is my dad has a lawnmower outside my window. I apologize for that if you can hear it. But it's not just because I expect to be disappointed. It's a first season episode, and they're not that great, honestly, compared to later episodes. But I went back and watched it, and I still love it, and I'm not quite sure why. It starts out, the Enterprise is going to the planet Minos to investigate the disappearance of the USS Drake, which went missing after going there to investigate itself the disappearance of all the intelligent life forms on this planet. This planet has a history of the people there have been arms dealers. They were selling to either one planet or a couple planets to both sides of the conflict during this war. But now everyone's gone. I really hope this isn't screwing up the quality of the video, of the audio, I mean. But anyway, they go to Minos and they get hailed by this automated salesman that's seeming to sell them these weapon systems. So Riker, Tasha, and Data beam down to the planet, and they get attacked by this weapon system. Picard and Beverly beam down, putting Geordi in charge, and then the Enterprise gets attacked by an identical thing. That these are extremely powerful weapons. The Enterprise can't really take very many shots. So eventually the Enterprise leaves because they can't beam up the away team. Picard and Beverly fall down into this pit, and Beverly gets injured. Riker, Data, and Tasha are fighting in their little battle with the thing. And then eventually Picard gets the automated salesman to shut down the program. Just as the Enterprise returns, the Enterprise manages to defeat the little enemy that they're fighting by luring it into the atmosphere so they can get a lock on it, and they destroy it, and everyone's happy. It's a difficult recap to do because there's actually a lot of stuff going on in this episode, and that's one of the reasons I love it so much. Because I know a lot of episodes, especially early on, they kind of have a contrived subplot. Like I mentioned in Angel 1, where you have this random disease that's on the Enterprise, and you don't know why. But it's just another subplot to further the main plot and to just have that secondary storyline going on. But this doesn't really have it. It has Riker, Data, and Tasha are fighting their battle because Riker gets encased in this, it's like an energy force field, and so Data and Tasha are trying to get him out of that. Meanwhile, Picard and Beverly got separated from the group, and they fell down into this pit, so they have a really great storyline going on, too. And then up on the Enterprise, you have Geordi, who had command of the Enterprise, never had a command before in his life. It's a life and death situation, both for the people on the Enterprise and for the people on the planet, and you get to see how he deals with that stressful situation. And I don't know, I was just watching the episode, like I said, I was thinking that I wouldn't like it as much, but I actually liked it a lot more. Now I can actually, now that I've been analyzing these episodes more, it's easier for me to figure out why I like or why I dislike an episode, because I am thinking about it more critically. So I really like it because you have a lot of character development and you have three fairly good plots. I really like the Beverly and the Picard sub-story because Beverly is injured whenever she falls down into this pit. So her arms hurt, her legs hurt. It's up to Picard to keep her alive, keep her conscious, and find a way for them to get out of there. And meanwhile, I mean, Beverly and him are having this decent interaction where she tells him about her grandma who lived in this colony and Beverly grew up there. And it's just really good interaction between them because we haven't had a lot of Picard Beverly stuff going on. I mean, I know that they implied in the first episode and in the Naked Now that they had a history with him basically getting her husband killed and then them having feelings for each other, but we haven't really explored that a ton until now. And I like that it wasn't really overdone, but we actually got to see them interacting, and it really lays the foundation for their friendship that develops later throughout the rest of the seasons. And the second plot was Geordi, because Picard left him in charge of the Enterprise, not thinking that they would get attacked. They get attacked by this weapon system, and after about 3 shots, it becomes clear that the Enterprise can't take a lot of this because their shields aren't strong enough, and that they can't get a lock on it because it shows up, it fires, it cloaks itself. So there's no way they can fight it. So he takes them away. He gives Chief Engineer Logan the control of the Salter section, and Geordi takes back the Star Drive, I think is what it's called. And it's kind of cheesy at some points because Geordi kind of annoys me in this episode. I'm not 100% sure why, but he just kind of bothers me. But it's a good episode because we haven't had a lot of Geordi episodes. And Geordi, it kind of shows his dedication to his job, his attachment to the ship, and the way that he deals with conflict. And him and Deanna actually interact a little bit in this episode because Deanna's the only other high-ranking officer left on the bridge. And it's good because, they don't really get to see each other much in the series. They have absolutely no relationship. Even later on, you never see Geordi and Deanna talking to each other, which I just thought of. That is kind of strange. There's 2 of the people that never really come into contact. And it's good because, I don't know, I just really like that you're building up Geordi's character a little bit, and without finding a contrived way to dedicate the entire episode to him. As in how the last episode, what the episode was called, but about Worf, you had an entire storyline about Worf, and now this one focuses more on Geordi. I think that they're really trying at this point to get more character development, because I haven't had a ton. Some of the episodes in this season have just been kind of for fun, and they haven't shown the characters growing a whole lot, and that's very important in the first season of any show. The third plot is just Riker, Data, and Tasha running around the planet trying first to get Riker free and then just to evade this device. And not a ton goes on there. You find out Riker went to the academy with the captain of the ship, Paul Rice, the captain of the Drake. And it turns out that Riker had been offered the command of the Drake, but he turned it down to become the first officer on the Enterprise. And that's a theme later on in the series, that Riker turns down a few commands. I think he turns down a command in, the Icarus Factor in season 2, which was one of my favorite episodes. He turns down a command of another ship because he wants to stay on the Enterprise. That just keeps happening. And it kind of shows that, Riker started out, he just wanted to be an Enterprise because it was a great ship and he wanted the career opportunity, but he really becomes attached to the crew. And I like that whole part, how it kind of starts to show that Riker could have moved on and he can move on, but he wants to stay on the Enterprise. That's kind of the first time they brought it up. Let me check my notes here to make sure I didn't want to say anything else. I have my little notebooks. I write down stuff in. I think that's about everything. It's surprising to me to go back and still love an episode as much as I did before, because while I love The Next Generation, it's probably my favorite show that I've ever watched. And definitely the original series is great too, but I think it is, I have to say, it's my favorite television show that I've ever seen. But going back, I always kind of expected to be not quite as good as I remember, or to find little flaws, especially now that I am watching it with the knowledge that I will be reviewing it later. I don't try to pick out things that I don't like, but it just kind of happens because I am dissecting the episode a lot more. And I expect I don't like it as much, but this one, it's, you know, its first season, it's kind of cheesy, and despite that, it's still a fantastic episode. I think it was pretty well done. A few of these episodes I've been getting on Wikipedia to kind of refresh my memory about them and to read a little bit about it. I didn't do that for this one, and now I'm kind of regretting that because I would have liked to have seen how the critical reception on this episode was and how it went over with the critics and with the viewers, because it's an episode that I think is fantastic for the first season. I'm kind of intrigued I'm intrigued. I'm interested in seeing what other people thought of it. So I think I'll look that up, and then I'll post something in the description about that, just to kind of let you guys know what other people thought about it, because I'm personally interested. But that's about it for this episode. Like, again, I absolutely love it. So I would recommend you guys to go watch it again, or just to kind of let me know what you think of it. And I would like to hear from people who really liked it or from people who didn't like it. I just want to get more input on it because it's an episode that means a lot to me. Some of these I just kind of watch and I don't remember them even because they aren't very memorable and I didn't really care about them. So those it's hard for me to get really into. But this one I actually am super excited about. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about it. So thank you for watching, and I hope you watch the next one.